I want to talk about Inside, but before I do, just know that I am going to talk spoilers about this game, but I'm going to talk about them towards the end. So for now, I'm just going to share my thoughts on the game, and then we'll get to the spoilerly stuff down the line. So Inside wasn't really on my radar at all. There was a lot of hype for it, especially because it is Playdead Studios, the guys that made Limbo, so there was a lot of anticipation. Myself, I played Limbo, thought it was cool, didn't really care, you know, I wasn't crazy about it, it was good, but that was about it. But Inside completely surprised me. It's really awesome. I love just how from beginning to end, it's just like a fun experience, and then it's over. And I think what's most important about it is that I played it, and again, I started a new game immediately after I beat it, which doesn't happen with a lot of games now. I feel like so many games now are just so chock full of shit, and not shit, but you know, but stuff to do, and they're long and they're padded that when you beat a game, you don't want to jump immediately back in. But you know, Playdead's Inside just did a really good job of being just a short little concise experience that I was like totally ready to jump back in as soon as I beat it. And that's worth noting because I don't do that often. It's a very simple game and it's not hard, and the puzzles are so simple, but they don't feel too rote, you know, they don't feel too like blech. They're just, you just do them to get progress, and that's it. And I really appreciated that because what I was really enjoying with this game is just the atmosphere, the vibe, the tone, the graphics, like the visuals, and for that it's perfect. Everything is just so ambiguous about the game, but really enjoyable because it's got a little bit of that Half-Life City 17 type of thing. It's got a little bit of Children of Men. It's got a little bit of like Amblin Entertainment, Spielberg films, and a little bit of something else that I can't talk about until later on. And I really appreciated all that. It's a very sad game. It just feels very down, and you're just this little kid who is super vague, and I really appreciated all that. But what I really love is just how the lighting affects everything, and how, especially the beginning of the game, when you're being chased and the flashlights are coming through the woods, that was eerie and incredible and awesome. I kind of like there's a little bit less of those like shocking, gruesome deaths that Limbo had. Here it didn't really seem to fit in too well, so it didn't happen too often, and I like that. You could cruise through it in 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It's just a fun, nice, mysterious adventure that I really appreciated, and parts of it even remind me of AI, artificial intelligence, which I didn't bring up. But there's just so much to it that's special because it just feels good. It's just like a nice, warm, creepy playthrough. Does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. It's actually kind of hard to summarize my actual feelings on the game without getting into spoilers, so it's hard to talk about this technical review stuff. So if you do want to hear more about what I had to say, I linked my before you buy on game ranks that I did for this video. Do I recommend Inside? Yes, absolutely, definitely. It's cheap. It's worth a playthrough. I think you might play through it more than once, and it's just a good experience. It's a good game to play through. But now, let's get into spoilers, because that's what I really want to talk about here. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have something to say to this, but I like being able to talk spoilers for something like this. I did a spoiler video for this because it is such a short game. You can cruise through it, you can see it to the end, so you definitely should. So what I appreciate about Inside, and more specifically the end, is of course the twist, the shocking change in the last part of the narrative arc that makes things go crazy. And what I really liked about it is that it just went full on Paul Verhoeven. Like, it just went totally grotesque, weird, and kind of awesome. I really loved it, and I did not expect it. It was great as a twist. It was great as just, it was weird and gross and awful. And I don't know, like, here's the thing with Inside and the story and the ending and stuff. There's like a bunch of theories out there. People have theories. People have, obviously the game was trying to say something, like it was trying to have a greater message. But I couldn't really figure much of one out. Maybe I'm not smart enough to interpret this game's higher meaning. I still got feelings from it, and I still got an experience out of it, so I don't feel gypped or anything. But to me, the game didn't like scream, there's all these things to be interpreted, you know, and like thought about and analyzed and theorized over. I didn't really pick up any of that. All I really do have, and like what I picked up for myself with it, was when you are swimming and then there's that mass of human limbs and people all melded together. It was there, and it was in a calm state. But for me, when you're the kid and you get absorbed into it, for me it was like kind of like it needed the spark of childhood fear and like just a youth. It just needed like a young spirit to kind of spark it to life and make it rage and bust out. And that's, I like that. I thought that was fucking really cool. Was it weird and jarring? Yes. But did I like it? Yes, because it was fucking gross. The way the whole blob thing is animated, it's so great. It's so smooth. You can tell they spent a ton of time on it. But for me, I think it actually outstayed its welcome a little bit. Like if that scene happened and it was shocking and it was like, oh my God, you're busting through the laboratory, you're squishing people, you're breaking through walls. You feel the anger and like the will to escape coming from this thing. You could like feel it in the controller. But it's just like, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, stop, do a puzzle. Really? Granted, I will say the puzzles while you are the blob thing are probably the best puzzles in the game, but for me, it kind of took away that initial shock of being this disgusting, awful thing on the run, squishing people, breaking shit. It kind of dampened that. Because if it was just one long 5 or 10 minute sequence where you're just running through and killing shit and escaping, and then you bust through the wall and then it ends, I think that end would have had a little more impact, you know? Now, speaking of that end, that was okay, that was fine. For me, it was really like it happened and I was like, okay, this is how it ends. All right, cool, I get it, like, you got out. You got outside. Inside. You got out of inside to go outside. Regardless, that whole end sequence was such a surprising thing that I didn't expect at all. I didn't expect anything like that at all. Like, I was just expecting to like, oh, everything will be revealed. Like, why are these people doing this? Turns out I didn't get any of those answers. Instead, I got a really cool, gross thing. There's a lot of weird elements, though, up in the air with this world of Inside. So it's like, okay, they're like using humans. It seems like they're kind of harvesting them, but they're also using them as like mindless mind control drones to work and then in turn harvest more of them. And it seems like a lot of times you see a lot of the masked people running the show, a lot of times they're with, it's like an adult and a child, which is weird that they would be paired up like that. That's very interesting. I don't know what that means. And then they were doing experiments, and then they also had this blob in the glass that everybody was watching. And what were they trying to make there? I feel like you can tie something together with all this, but I'm not really smart enough for that, so that's kind of why I'm making this video and talking it out. And I'm really looking forward to going in the comments and hearing what you guys have to say, because I haven't really Googled too many theories yet. I didn't want to hear anything. I kind of wanted to just hear directly from you guys what you guys thought, like just regular old unfiltered opinions. Because at the end of the day, and I think why I liked Inside the most was because I didn't have any conclusion. I didn't really need to figure anything out. I didn't feel compelled to. Some people might, and they might get even more enjoyment out of that, and I love that. But for me personally, I didn't have any questions answered, and all the ends I couldn't really tie together myself, but I still enjoyed what I played through. And I think that's what makes Inside really special. I can't wait to play through it again, because it is so cool, because it is so gorgeous and beautiful, and maybe I'll pick up on a few more things here and there, and maybe from you guys down in the comments. So with that being said, I do want to hear from you guys down there what you think about Inside. Did you like the big twist, weird ending, and could you put that together with any other pieces of the game and kind of make some sort of lore for yourself or some sort of theory? Because I want to hear it. You guys should keep your eyes peeled too, because I'm going to be posting a video soon asking for questions for a Q&A that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So if you want to get in on that, let me answer some of your questions. Keep an eye out for that video. But you guys know the deal. I'm Jake Baldino. You can like me on Facebook, you can yell at me on Twitter, and you can subscribe because video games.